Hello. Alright, this Google Share is partly how I make my videos. So I use it with main purpose in mind is so that I can have the the video in the archive of what I'm talking about in a lot of these videos. And we want to get into a couple of different topics. I wanted to uh, give some type of attribute to the military for Memorial Day. So I'm going to try and explain how they were sabotaged before. I'm going to talk about Vietnam and how we got into Vietnam in particular. Um, what happened, and I know all these things because my father is a Vietnam veteran. So anyhow, um, the French occupied Vietnam. They used it for the rubber resources there. Europe, most European countries, it was the thing that people did. They would occupy certain territories or places and they would use the resources there. If America uses a resource from a place and they make them a part of the United States, whether a state or whatever way that they, I can't remember the name, how they name that, where they occupy the place. There's a couple of different things, ways that you can describe the U.S. occupying a place, and then there's a difference between the way that France, England, and other European countries um, used to, occupy places for um, resources in particular. So people will use that and they'll say, oh, these people were terrible people because they only did what any other country, if they had the technology or know-how, would probably have done. But America is different. It's always been different, where they bring um, to light. Like say you're in the light, you no longer in the dark. America brings other places and people and country into the light. I would. That's how I believe. That we give them a little bit of how we live or how we're intended to live our lives here, free men, being able to um, experience life a lot better than other places. And it's not because we're greedy, it's because we know how to share and give when we take. We're not just takers in America altogether. So they were able to use that in particular against, and it was really sick because they used it against Vietnam veterans coming home, and they tried to make them seem out to be like they were the main force behind this evil American government entity, which was actually pushing for civil rights, liberty for people, and other stuff like that. So I don't understand how people got away with that with so many different people, with enough people throughout time to not believe that crap. But there's still a large amount of people that bought into it. America is bad. So then you get into what America did, which I think was really disgraceful. They elected Bill Clinton, a man who dodged the draft. He went to Canada when he got a draft card. So he became president of the United States after he refused to give his service in the military. So, and that's not the only thing that was confusing about the time in Vietnam and them spitting on our troops and getting it confused, even with our own government, because they weren't even right if the focus was just on our government at the time and said, oh, the military just takes orders. They are told what to do and they shut up and they do their orders. Well, the government was not wrong either. They weren't stripping Vietnam for their resources and weren't going to leave the people high and dry. If we would have had a victory there, the people of Vietnam would have won. That's why we say America didn't lose Vietnam. The Vietnamese people lost Vietnam to communism. So you have Bill Clinton and the confusion of people believing that Vietnam was a bad idea, even though they came in, they brutally killed and wiped everybody out with a single thought that would have been able to have a thought against communism. They just brutally murdered them. The true facts about communism, and that is not liberating people at all. It's actually liberating pure evil, an evil war machine that uses people in situations and circumstances for its own gain to say that they did something great for the people when it's actually taken so much good away. Um, and I'll make the point right here. So the people were confused back then at that time because certain people were protesting, made to believe that they were protesting against the war, which was only good if you were to support our troops in the U.S., from the U.S., whatever it is, give them their support, whatever. Even if it came out to be something bad in history that they did, still have to give them support because initially they're going to prevail and good will win and prevail from our troops winning. But in in fact, the fact of the matter is back at that time, certain people were protesting against the war, and that's what they thought they were protesting against. But during 70s and parts maybe of the 60s too, this other like resentment for America, which I see in say like Obama and the liberals today. I think that they think something's really wrong with America. Wrong, America is a stuck-up jerk. It needs to be put down on its level, off of its high horse. And the proof is in the fact that these guys knew what they were doing. And Bill Clinton was not part of a protest against the war. He was against America, and he protested in demonstrations that were anti-American, and that's what somebody was trying to get that point across to me the other day. That some of these guys, they were not protesting against their philosophies that they had mixed about the war in Vietnam in particular. They have a problem with America altogether. So, you left those people high and dry. Millions of them were killed by a dictation of communism in Vietnam instead of being liberated and be made free. Like how we have our society here, even though it's not the best, it's still the best in the world. Even with the prison populations and all the problems, except we have people that want to prove a point, so they're going to do things regardless if it's right or wrong. In a sense that I believe that they think that they're getting even with America in a sense. So we had, yeah, I wanted to talk about uh, legalizing marijuana. They're talking about there's this big gap on almost a non uh, uh, even seem to exist bridge in between the military and regular people. So I think that we transition over into legalizing the shit, marijuana. Pardon my French, speaking of French, right? Um, I think that it would help mend the land bridge gap that we have in between regular society and the military. We were talking about that. Um, I know I support Israel in the army, the Israeli army. Uh, I'd like to join it. Actually, I'd like to be in it. It was awesome. It would be awesome, but they were trying to. I don't know how the results came out. Maybe it's top secret. I've tried to research it a little bit and came up inconclusive. So, but I know that they were going to use marijuana with their troops for shock um, treatment, their military fatigue or war fatigue and whatnot. So I'd still like to have an update on that. If anybody's watching this could do anything about that to help me out with the conclusion on how that came out, that would help us out a lot. Because I'm a firm believer in it. I think that you might need to use it like alcohol. If you've seen somebody get shot and they said, "Oh man, give me some weed," you're not gonna. I mean, you're not gonna. If he's gonna die, you're not gonna give him that last wish to go that comfortably. I'm not morbid, so I don't. I think that these some another thing I wanted to talk about before we move on. We're gonna move on from the marijuana thing right now. We'll talk about that some other time. I wanted to talk about people removing their flag from the college. So anybody get this? So the student body, I was in student body in 2001 in Oregon when I was a resident there. I was in a community college there. I was a student senator there. So I worked on things in particular. I thought once I come away from this senator thing, I want to come back and make myself with the regular people in general. So I was typically trying to focus on, even if I didn't do anything, I just sat still. My mind was trying to work on how I could make things better for people in general. Just the regular, not maybe even the teachers, but what it is it was student and teacher relations. I thought was important, something important to work on. So I just wanted to know um, how come see people like that, they have no idea what they're doing. I don't even know how many of them, if they're all even from America or they look like it, like Americans. They're getting free uh, schooling right now from that flag. The troops are dying for that flag. Still, we have, so we want to make a connection between Vietnam and Iraq. So the Afghanistan and Iraqi veterans are getting a gist of how our troops have been treated all along. And it's all because they allowed these liberal bullshit artists to come in, excuse me, but to come in and fool everybody out, take funds away from the military, and I argue with all these people all the time, and I'm just like shaking my head, like, how in the world can you think taking away from our military is going to help us out at all? And pulling them out of places where there's it's chaotic. And these other regular people, they don't have a safe life without somebody coming in there counteracting like a bully in the world. So just like Vietnam, Iraq, or any of these other positions, evil comes in, they persuade people like they've always done for thousands of years here. Don't ask me why people do it. I'm going to say, so what was the point? What's the point in even fighting? Trying to think of a sound solution, something good out of this, because when we're not necessarily policing the world, I wanted to be in the Center for Disease Control. That was one of my things I wanted to be when I was in college, and I've seen an opportunity of maybe being able to have that. Also, being raised in the military to a certain point before I was brought back to um, the regular society when I was a teenager. I would have fit into a lot of those things, but um, being trained and taught the way I was growing up gave me a sort of uh, demeanor about myself where I just, if I know something, is not right, I won't come off of it, and you can't bend me over on the subject. I won't stop fighting for it. So maybe that's why people don't stop trying to fight these people. You want to remove the flag from the college, really? So can they, I was like saying, can they vote? If they had the power to vote to make their own college an area of sovereign place other than America, they'd do it. So I just want to know where the vote or the petition is at to elect these people a boot in their butt out of America. Have them make them go to Mexico. I would say Canada, but Canada, at least they have a leader that understands that Israel is not a bully. So now we're going to get into this. So Hillary Clinton now, back to the Clintons. So now I don't know if you want to text people like crazy, but Hillary Clinton's are already starting in on the Jews in Israel. She's calling them a bully for where they're at. So we know these people are disgraceful and dishonest, but for some reason, people still electively buy their stuff collectively. And I think maybe it's because they are young, because they're not notorious. Democrats are notorious for going after young people, kind of like Pepsi would in their ads. Of course, Coke. Coke would be like, well, we're the old product of old, and Pepsi's like, well, we're the new generation. So that's what they're trying to come off with the masses, that they're the new generation, they're the new structure. I'll forget what your parents and all these other people are saying. Go with us. It's not right. It's pretty evil. Yeah, people that seriously don't want to, if they wanted to live coincide with Israel over there, they would have by now. If they wanted to behave themselves and not give Israel a hard time in their own country there. So, anyways, so there's another article that came out. Before I talk about um, Rick Scott and Bill McCollum, I volunteered around this time that they squared off in 2010. I want to explain my position because I live in Florida, so now I know how Jeb Bush is, so I want to explain him a little bit. He's a systems person. Bill McCollum here. Bill McCollum. Um, here, a politician and not a bad person. He's a systems person. He went all the way. He worked his way up from being a state prosecutor, attorney. Um, he was a politician, a representative. It sounds like he was a. It can sound like he was a congressperson, but he was something particular. The attorney general. That's right. I'm sorry. He was the attorney general here. So basically, what I'm saying is, Rick Scott comes in, did a good job here, and he was getting. He was thinking what America could use right now is a business-minded person that could put everybody to work, but had people more in mind right now, focused instead of more business practice in mind in particular, to get people motivated and get them off their feet or whatever and feel good about what they're doing. Rick Scott, I supported him at this time instead of going with Bill McCollum in the primary. So what he did was he was a system guy, and I guess I felt a little bad about it, him not getting elected, even though I voted for Rick Scott in the primary. This guy is a system person, so he went from all these different levels in law practice, um, to attorney general, and then you go from attorney general to the governor. And that's just what he was thinking. So he was resentful for that. So he reminds me of the same kind of cloth that Jeb Bush is. They're system people to believe that they're climbing up to the top. They're gonna cram us with something. I just feel it. Cram us with somebody, I don't know who, Hillary or Jeb Bush or somebody that we all won't agree on. And Jeb Bush, I wanted to throw that in there because he is saying in one of his campaign slogans is, "You got a problem with me? Get over it." Yikes! I'd want to deal with the problems that people face when you got a problem with me. Let's face those. Let's see what you have to say. I won't talk to you literally. Just know that if you go somewhere and you're a Republican and you go to college somewhere, somebody's going to be a smart aleck with you like they did with him. So I wouldn't necessarily bring up the same topics that he was using. So I just wanted to explain that a little bit. So I'm not necessarily for him. I'm going to vote for a Republican in the primary, but if they don't get the right guy, I won't vote in the election. I don't think I'm going to vote if Marco Rubio or Jeb Bush are in it. And I basically campaigned and helped support those guys really more than you'd think. But I'm not, I'm not down. So let's see. Backwards Nation. Yeah, I think that's about all that I had to discuss. So I'm gonna stop it right there. Like I said, this is generally all I can say about these videos is I try to get some people to hang out and talk, but I don't see that really happening every time, so that's alright. So go back to it being the main purpose is I want to make a video, and this is the easiest way that I can do it besides loading that from my camera. And it is something that was on my mind that I have a problem with. It goes in depth, if I can remember and keep track of my thoughts and everything at the time, which I'm like training myself, at the time, like, hold on to those thoughts so that you can make the point. And at least people can understand where I'm coming from. But it's also another main reason for these videos too. Not just that I want to broadcast and try to talk to people. It's I need this video. I need people to understand, and now it's archived. So I appreciate it if you watch my video, enjoy them, give it a like, give me a follow here at this channel. Whatever you like, do or don't, just view them, whatever. Somehow I know that if you follow people on these different channels, it's a good way to keep better track of them and their videos and what they're saying, and I just happen to be kind of on the ball, sort of, with these videos. I do numerous videos on numerous channels that I have, so it's all for the better good. I don't think that I get up in the morning and just think of, not necessarily think of something, evil practice to get into, but I'm trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with all of us collectively. The more that I could look at myself and deal with myself first, I guess I could deal with other people. So I just don't like dealing with people all the time like this. And it's really kind of sounds moronic or even oxymoronic if you want to put it lighter. Why people voted for Obama. I don't care what color he is or what he looks like or what people think of him personally. You took him personally as that and let the most crappiest person who hates America, who only sit there and say, no, we gotta close Guantanamo Bay, we gotta pull out of Iraq and Afghanistan. We got to hang our troops to dry. Got to take their bullets away from them next, and just let the enemy actually give the enemy tell them, hey troops, it's Obama next. Obama's gonna be like, hey troops, give your guns and your ammo and all your trucks and everything to the enemy. Pulling out of Iraq like that, pulling out of Vietnam, pulling out anywhere else. You're leaving it for straight Nazis and straight up commies to have our military arsenal and our weapons that we're losing money, our ass, tax wise, also on that crap. So I say you have to completely 155 million zillion% trust these military people and support them at all costs. That's all I can say. Peace and God bless America.